Hi, it's Erica from Sewing Machines, etc., where your sewing success matters most. First of all, thank you everybody so much for your positive feedback on our YouTube channel. We have really enjoyed reading your comments and helping you out with your sewing journey. We've had a lot of requests for a demo on how to use the Ruffler Foot. I'm going to be showing the Husqvarna Viking Ruffler Foot, but this is actually one of the very first extra presser feet that were designed for sewing machines back in the day. So there is going to be one for every single model of sewing machine out there. However, they look scary and cumbersome and very difficult to use. So kind of a blast from the past today, but a great foot, rotating shot of our Ruffler Foot. Okay, so here's our little Ruffler Foot. There's a lot of parts on the presser foot and they all interact together to give you the look that you're going for. First thing I want to point out is the depth screw. Ours here on this particular ruffler is on the top. The one that I'm going to be putting on the sewing machine, the depth screw is actually going to be on the front. And the job of the depth screw is to control how much fabric is tucked into each pleat. The farther, the tighter it's screwed in, the more fabric goes into your tuck, and the converse is true. And we've got a sample to show that to you later. Next on the top here, I don't know if you can see, there's little numbers engraved, 1, 6, 12, 0. This piece here is called the pleat lever. Lever? I don't know, you decide. Basically what this does is controls how often the foot will pleat. If we have it set to 1, you'll get a tuck or a pleat every stitch. If you set it to 6, you'll get a tuck every 6 stitches. And same if you set it to 12, there will be more space and you will have a tuck every 12 stitches. 0, of course, is no pleats whatsoever. And if you have it set to 0, you can just do a regular straight stitch or a basting stitch on your sewing machine. What else? Here we've got the area that screws onto the ankle of your sewing machine. This is called the adapter, if you want a term for it. And then we've got the fork right in through there, and that fork is what's going to be placed around the needle clamp screw on your sewing machine. And then of course there's a few other little guides. There's some slots in through here which are designed to hold your fabric or ribbon or trim or whatever you're putting through the foot while you're putting it through your machine, and that will just give you better control over your fabric. So we had mentioned the different features on the presser foot, and I just want to show you some samples that kind of illustrate the functionality of those different bits on the presser foot. So let's look down over here. We've run some off for you already. So this first one here that I've got shows you the difference that is affected by the pleat lever. I'm going to forget the name of that thing at some point here. Here we started out with the pleat lever on every 6. So again, that guy was over there. And you can see that we've got a tuck every 6 stitches. And then we switched it over and we got a tuck every 1 stitch. So it's much tighter and much fuller effect. And then, so that's that one. The other thing, the set screw. How does that affect the look of your tucks? The more you have it screwed in, the more the presser foot is going to shove fabric in. So on this sample, we started at the beginning with the screw all the way out. Now can you zoom in and just see what that's like? See how little of a bite or a tuck that is? That was with the screw as far out as it could go. Then I increased it to maximum, and here's the opposite. That is all the way in. And that is all the way out. Can you see a little bit of a difference there? So when you're doing your project, you definitely want to test the variables. The other thing that can affect the look of how far apart your stitches, or your tucks rather, are, of course, is your stitch length. They recommend a 2.5 to 3 millimeter stitch length, but the longer your stitch is, that directly relates to how much space is between each pleat. If you have a longer stitch, of course you're going to have more space in between each pleat. And then I've got one more over here, and this is a great one showing this is a pleat every stitch, and we did use a very deep tuck, the deepest you can, and we also sewed it quite a distance in. So this gives you an opportunity to insert this into another project, to cut that short if you want. You can stitch trim down over top. There might be times where you want, that's probably the maximum amount of header that you can have on a ruffle. Okay, I guess what I'd like to do is show you how we are going to put the presser foot onto the sewing machine. So I've got my Ruffler Foot over here, And what I'm going to do is I'm going to angle it around the needle. You can take the needle out if you like. That is totally allowed. I like to eliminate as many steps as possible. But if you find the needle gets in the way, definitely take it out. What I'm going to do is coming in from the right here, I'm going to angle. And what I'm aiming at is to get my fork over top of my needle clamp bar. And once I've got that in position, you can see that the adapter is just going to hook right on over there. So I can swivel it up straight, hold it in place. And I think my hands might get in the way a bit here, but what I'm going to do is put my regular old screw into the appropriate spot to hold the presser foot on. And I believe you guys all know how that goes. See how fumble-fingered I get while on camera. There we go. When I'm putting presser feet on with the screw, I usually just finger tighten it and then give it one little additional twist with the screwdriver. You don't need to over crank it. If you tighten it too tight, there is a possibility of actually breaking the threads in there and the screw snapping off. You don't want that to happen because that's an expensive repair. All right, we're set up and we're ready to go. Okay, so here we are. I am going to be sewing on one layer of fabric for you today. However, if you would like, you can always fold a piece of fabric in half and run a basting stitch down the side before putting it through the ruffler. Now, you don't have to take the ruffler off to do a basting stitch. Remember, you can just set the pleat lever to 0 and then run a basting stitch and then move it over to the appropriate spot. So what I'm going to do is feed the fabric in, and this guide does have to go through all the way through the back. There are as the presser foot is going, you will see the blade moving back and forth here, and that's the guide that forces the fabric into the presser foot to create the tucks. You want that to be able to catch the fabric, so it's important to have your fabric all the way through the presser foot. So I've set it up with my screw is actually screwed in all the way. We're going to get the deepest tucks possible, and I've set the pleat lever to be happening every 6 millimeters. So here we go. It's a noisy foot. Don't worry about that. There's my tucks. It's magic. Isn't that cool? So let's move the lever over here to 1, and you'll see how much more fabric gets pulled through as we run it. We're also going to reduce the screw. We're going to loosen it. We've done a lot of experimenting here, and we do find that when you've got a tuck happening every stitch, it works better if you actually have less fabric going into those tucks, because otherwise it tends to bunch up at the back of the presser foot, and it doesn't feed through quite evenly. So let me just loosen this. I'm going to bring it about halfway out so that we have again another version different from the samples that we did earlier. There we go. So that's about halfway out, and let's see what we get. I am giving a little bit of a gentle tug at the back of the machine here. I find that also helps to feed the fabric through the presser foot. And there we go. Let us look. There's our variation. Every stitch, every 6 stitches. How cool is that? We also have a great sample to show you, a finished project that's got ruffles every 6 stitches. So if you can just zoom out and we'll show the pillow. So this is an heirloom pillow. It's got a lot of heirloom techniques on it. It is silk. And you can see the ruffle along the edge here. We actually folded the fabric in half like I was talking, basted it, and then ran it through with a pleat every 6 stitches. So isn't that beautiful? Nice and consistent ruffle all the way around. One place to use it. All right, so just some suggestions about where you can use the ruffle. I showed you our beautiful pillow here. Of course, lots of home deck applications. You can do it on bed skirts, crib skirts, oh man, valances, anywhere you want a nice even pleat or gather. You can also use it in garment sewing. I've seen a lot of ruffled skirts are coming back in, little details on girls' skirts, ruffles around collars, big pleated stand-up collars. There's so much out there on the fashion runway. And then when it comes to reference material, of course, if you've got a Husqvarna Viking, you do have your accessory user's guide, and there is a good page of instructions in here on how to use the Ruffler Foot. The same information also comes with the Ruffler. There's a little multi-language insert that came with the Ruffler Foot. The most comprehensive outline that we have found, though, is a fantastic book from Country Stitches. This is called the Foot Book. This is the most recent edition that was released at International Convention 2011, and they outline all the presser feet that are currently available. Every Husqvarna Viking dealer has access to this book, so you can go into any dealership and get this. And of course, they have got a lot of extensive information. I think they've got probably a page and two and a half pages here on the different ways that you can use your Ruffler Foot. And we do want to give you more information. Look forward to a blog post on how to estimate how much fabric you need for a given length of ruffle. And we will also have hopefully another video on different ways of using the Ruffler for trims and things like that. So look forward to helping you out with that in the future, and happy sewing. Talk to you soon.